I don't know. I talked to you. I think you started. Maggie's a fine person.
All right, Mayor.
We can't.
We're good.
It's good.
I got it.
Yeah, we were waiting for some technical things here.
5:31.
So everything's okay. Thank you. Call this meeting to order of the Oak Hill City Council for May 9th at 5:30 at City Hall. And we will begin with the roll call of the clerk.
Mayor Daniel E. Wright.
Here.
Counselor at Large Tom Oxley.
Here.
Counselors from Ward 1, Diana Janey. Here. David Perry.
Here.
Krista Hodges.
Here.
Counselors from Ward 2, Steve Hazlett.
Here.
Charles Smallwood Jr.
Here.
Benitez Jackson.
Here. The invocation tonight will be offered by Bishop Sam Calloway from the Spirit and Truth Ministries on Main Street, and the pledge followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Council Member Diana Janey.
Father God, we thank you for giving us the opportunity, Lord, to be here tonight together, represent our city that you have planted us in. We thank you for the great city that we live in. Father, we believe that you live here with us. We pray God to bless this meeting. Everything be done in decency and order, Lord. Before we make any decision, we'll consult you in our hearts and minds and spirit so that we leave this place. Despite of maybe differences, we'll still be in one accord. We will always be together, unified in this great city that we live in. Pray to bless all the council, bless their families, and bless all this attended tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Entertain a motion regarding the reading and approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Mayor, I move that we accept the minutes as having been presented.
I'll second that.
And properly moved and seconded that we accept the minutes as having been presented by the clerk. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to 7-0, which moves us now down to the treasurer's report. Any comments or motion regarding it?
Mayor, I move we accept the treasurer's report as having been presented.
I'll second.
The properly moved and seconded that we accept the treasurer's report as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to 7-0. Madam Clerk, any correspondence?
No, Mayor.
No correspondence to the city. Brings us to comments from the general public. Donald and Michelle, is that Brooks from Euler Avenue.
Okay, for anyone that doesn't know us, we're Mad Concessions, stands for Michelle and Donnie, but mine stands for Mad, really mad. We weren't informed of the special council meeting last, and And also for those that do know us, know that to speak up right now, it takes everything in us.
We're not public speakers.
So when we watched the special council meeting from last week, I was very impressed with everybody that was for the buying of BB&T because they spoke very eloquently. So when I was sitting at the house, I said, this is why we sit at home and watch on TV because we don't speak eloquently. So just to get out a little bit, we were never opposed to the buying of BB&T Bank. We would have preferred more open dialogue from the council members. If you wanted to buy it because it's a pretty building in the city of town, definitely buy it. It's beautiful on the outside. It's inviting for everyone to look at. But if you want to buy it because it was said that this building's too small for what you have, then now you have two city council halls because that one's going to be for maybe the mayor, the city manager, maybe Aaron's position. But there is absolutely no room for all the offices that are here to go there. So you'll have two city halls, I think. I don't know what the direction's going to be, but so we weren't opposed to buying it. We were opposed to a little more transparency. We wanted to sit back because we heard council members talk about quotes and appraisals, and we were interested to see, is that one more efficient to buy? Is it cost effective? You know, a little bit more information before it was rushed through. So that's really not why we're here. I think it's a done deal. We're here because of the rumors going on in town. A lot of people have asked us, was that a shady backdoor deal? We've reached out to some council members and asked, and nobody can give us an answer because it was pushed through so fast. Something seems shady. We were told just rumors through town. Like I said, I would like for it to be addressed, even though it's not on the agenda, to address some of the rumors that are going on through town that council members voted so they could save somebody's property. You vote, we want to demolish this property. Then I'll vote for you. Like kind of backdoor deals that used to take place years ago, or I'll put your name on the building in years to come. So I'm curious in years to come to see whose name goes on the building. Like some kind of backdoor deals is what's being talked about in the community. And I know I'm running out of time and probably getting time because that's what happens. But the biggest thing we've heard rumor that city manager may put his resignation in. That would be the biggest upset to this town and going backwards because there's probably about, from what I hear, 17 million maybe projects he's had got in the works. I'm not sure if that amount's right, but we thought we were going forward and excited. The National Park Service and Oak Hill was finally going to get on the map. And I feel like we just went back to where I was raised from, where if you wanted your gravel in your driveway, just vote a certain way. You have some gravel in your driveway or case of liquor, you know, I feel like we went back in time. So basically just a lot of rumors in the community that we want to see addressed as to why that deal took place so fast. And it's 3 times smaller than the building you have. And one last question, and I will step down because I know I'm getting close. Is there no law in place that stops a council from buying a property that's over 200,000 above appraisal? If you can get 4 votes, because I'm counting on my fingers about 3 people I could probably get put in positions, and then I could maybe get votes started and get me a 4th member, maybe get $1 million on my house. It don't have to be worth it. It doesn't have to provide the need the city wants. You know, it doesn't have to be big enough or even be used in the future. If I can just get 4 people to scratch my back, then I'll scratch theirs with $1 million. That's what it sounds like. I would think there's some kind of law in place that keeps buddy system from going on.
From watching the meeting, Mayor, last week you said you hoped that the decision, the way the meeting went down, that it didn't divide council. And from watching the expressions and people on the council, it looked like some of them were divided.
And the
I don't-
city, the
yeah.
city's divided. So
That's-
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Krista. Is it Microwick? COVID? Okay.
First of all, I'm here on behalf of Brian Sizemore. I'm not sure this is the correct time, so correct me if I'm wrong, but we have applied to make his house an Airbnb on Summerlee Avenue. we missed the last meeting, but I'm here today if there are questions or whatever we need to do to get that approved.
I think you're talking about the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.
I don't
And
know, Darlene,
I'll
since
tell
city
you what-
council, I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you my card. If you
Okay.
would contact me by email or phone,
Okay,
preferably email,
sure.
contact me and I will let you know when that meeting is.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Yep.
sounds good.
But
Thanks.
thank you. for
Yeah.
coming.
Becky Sullivan, Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, I'm here on behalf of the CBB, the New River Gorge CBB. I dropped off packets before I came in, and this is the annual report for the New River Gorge CBB. And this is the annual report from 2021. So we come here yearly and present the annual report. Krista and Dave have already seen this report at our board meeting. But I just want to go over some highlights. So the office that I'm in, we're located beside Holiday Lodge off Wheeler Avenue. I invite you all to come by and visit anytime. We're also known as the New River Gorge Visitor Center. We are an accredited CVB in West Virginia, and I am currently working on a renewal application. We are funded on the hotel occupancy tax from the city of Oak Hill, Fayette County, town of Anstead, and city of Montgomery. Total tax collected in 2021, and this is all in here, was $414,000. That is the 50% from all of the places I mentioned, the county and the municipalities. Compared to a normal year in 2019, we collected $356,000 in hotel motel tax, hotel occupancy tax. In 2021, we spent 73% of our total expenses on marketing. So that does include our promotional efforts, brochures, postage, special events, trade shows, all goes on marketing this area. So the New River Gorge Visitor Center saw about 5,300 visitors from 35 states and 4 countries last year. Our top states for visits are West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, and Florida. There has been an average of a 30% increase to our area in the last year. I know you all have seen some of the reports from the National Park Service that talk about the increase in visitation. It's gone from 1.2 million to 1.7 million, and that's due to the national park designation. So we are riding that national park train. We are on to bigger and better things. Through our digital advertising, our spring campaign received over 3 million impressions. Summer received over 4 million, and fall received over 5.5 million impressions. So that many people are seeing New River Gorge content. So we just keep getting better. Our year-over-year comparisons show large increases in guide requests and newsletter signups. The web activity is averaging about a 30% increase over 2020. Social media presence is strong and growing, and we are now on TikTok for all the young people in the room. We have increased our visit, or not our, I don't even know what they're called, TikTokers. I'm too old. I don't know what they're called. We've increased our followers maybe, and we've posted probably 2 or 3 videos, and it's over double what we started with. We have a new visitors guide coming out, and it should be here in the next couple of weeks. And we are currently working on a project that will it'll increase awareness and visitation, and it's focused on the bears here in Oak Hill. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Which 4 countries? Canada's one.
Canada, we had France, and I want to say we had France, Canada, Germany, and I can't remember the 4th one right now. Definitely Canada. We see a lot of Canada
Yeah, I
visitors.
see.
You want to shed any light on the project, Becky?
No.
Okay.
No,
Just thought
but
I'd
it's
try.
exciting. It's
Okay.
fun.
Just thought I'd
It's
try.
going to include website. It's going to include print. And we're going to get some visitors to see the bears and get some photos. And
That's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. And we had the bear guys at our office today, cleaning them up, shining them up and filling in the cracks and painting and all that stuff. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Adam Hodges? Oh, you're not, okay. So those are the only speakers, those four. All right. Brings us to a minute from the minutes. I have two from the ordinances of the city of Oak Hill from 1937. Ordinance number 44, section 5. Every horse-drawn vehicle on the road at night in Oak Hill shall display a light in every direction visible for at least 200 feet. So they're still using horse-drawn vehicles in 1937 in Oak Hill. Ordinance number 83, section 1, be it ordained and enacted by the council of the city of Oak Hill that it shall be unlawful to shoot, kill, or wound any bird or birds within the corporate limits of the city of Oak Hill, except English sparrows or starlings, and from doing damage or injury to the livestock of any person or any property with the use of a slingshot or guns shall be subject to a fine of not less than $1, not more than 25. So no slingshots, no guns, but you can shoot sparrows. Well, I guess you could shoot sparrows and starlings, it says.
Can I use an air rifle, man?
It's not in here, 1937. I guess you could. All right. We now move into unfinished business. Number 1, bid opening for demolition of residential structure located at 137 Broadway, map 7, parcels 116 and 117, owned by new owner Dwayne Hopkins. Mr. Hannibas?
Mayor, if I may, before we get into the first item, this is an emotional meeting for me, the city manager of Oak Hill. I publicly announce my resignation. I intend to retire from the city of Oak Hill. Been a very pleasurable experience. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the people of Oak Hill. I hope I am judged to have been a good city manager for number 1, the public, number 2, the employees of the city, and number 3, the city councils I have served under. I appreciate all of you. This is a good occasion. I have reached almost, I turned 62 on July the 3rd. I intend for my last official day to be July 5th. And it's another chapter in my life that I look forward to. Thank all of you. And most importantly, several are here this evening, the employees of the city. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So Mayor, going into unfinished business. This is a bid opening for the demolition of 137 Broadway Avenue. And I believe Mr. Hopkins is here. You're Mr. Hopkins, right? I've seen you once before and I talked to you on the phone. This is a little bit of a strange situation. We discussed it last month where there's been a change of ownership. We did, council, I believe it was a split decision, but council did pass a resolution, move forward with the causing the city to demolish the property. So I'll be quiet a minute and open it up for discussion of council before I open the bid.
Oh, well, I'll say something real quick, because I was one of the people that voted for not. And the reason why is because I think he's only had the property for 2 months. 3 months now, maybe 2 or 3 months. And I think if somebody's willing to put their own money in their property, and we should give them the opportunity to do that instead of tearing it down so fast. So that's the reason why I voted no. Obviously, it was, it was a split vote, but I know that he's working. I've been by there. I go by there almost every day.
Mhm.
And I know that he has people working on there for the last month or so, well, a couple of weeks probably. So that was my reasoning for that. And I would, be happy if we would put in maybe what we did that for
In order to
an
repair.
order to repair,
Mhm.
and then we monitor it to make sure he's doing the work. That's just my opinion. Like I said, it was voted down last time, but I'm still with that as well.
Mayor, I voted for it. However, I feel the progress I've seen out there in talking with this gentleman, observing it on site, that he has made progress. There was a lot of confusion around it in terms of ownership, transfer of property, in terms of bids. I would hope that we wouldn't open the bids tonight, but we would hold them. And I think Bill put you in a precarious position. I apologize for that. But in terms of progress he's made, he was asked to submit plans. I agree with my three colleagues I've heard speak that perhaps we could extend the time with a drop dead date for plans to come and completion. Whatever the gentleman would feel is acceptable and doable with his comments. And I would go along with the rest that we stay this. We've done it out Gatewood Road. We've done it on several, and each time we talked about it that it may reach a point where we could grant more time or reverse what we've done. But I wouldn't reverse. I just I don't know what would be proper.
Mayor, I'd like to ask Mr. Hopkins a question, please. Mr. Hopkins, I'm hearing what did actually happen at the last meeting. And matter of fact, Councilman Jackson and I were looking at each other and thought you had an opportunity to do something good out there. But did anybody from council come to you this past month and tell you that it had been resolved?
Meeting after the last city council
Right,
meeting?
yeah.
I haven't heard that it was resolved. Everything when I spoke to was that it would be resolved this meeting. Because they seen the progress. I think that the community. So I was in school for a month. I was going from morning to evening. They were calling my house phone, I guess, to get in touch with me instead of my cell phone. So I never spoke to anyone to update the plan, get everything in order. So I think there was some miscommunication. They thought I was just guiding them, which wasn't the case. But I've started work on the house, and a couple people have been out there to see the work, so.
Have you seen it?
I have, yes. Yeah, yes.
Mr. Hopkins, I went out there and looked at it. I had a visit from a rather active civil leader there, or civic leader there in Harlem Heights, who came to my house and left a message with my wife, and I called when I got home, and I went out and looked at it. He told me this. He said, not only are you working on it, but he said members of the community are giving you money and also helping put up the siding, and fixing the roof. What I saw was the roof's being fixed, and I saw that you have put, or the community has put insulation on the side of one side of the building. And he told me that the community has been gathering money and been over working on it for the last few weeks. So that's why I went out and looked, because he asked me to, and I went out and took a peek at it, and well, there it is. So that's what I saw, I guess.
Bill, you require a bid bond for those,
For the,
for the bids?
no, sir, I don't.
And there's no upset date on when they expire?
No, sir, I don't. I can't
Okay.
recall.
That
an
was what I
upset.
was going to actually, we'll have to go through the whole paperwork process stuff again.
I think that if council desires not to see the structure demolished at this time, that you could merely table the matter right now. And I think the proper way, you're not going to go much past 30 days by just tabling the matter. But at that point, if you still desired to delay the demolition, you could rescind the order to demolish.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to approach it. And I think Mr. Hopkins is honest and worthy of a chance to fix that up instead of demolish it. So I'll make a motion that we table it.
Second,
Properly moved and seconded that we table the demolition of 137 Broadway, map 7, parcels 116 and 117, owned by Dwayne Hopkins. Any more discussion?
I would just like to congratulate Dwayne on all your hard work. I've drove by there. It looks really great.
And Mr. Hopkins, I want to say that I stopped by too. I talked to you on the phone, talked to two fellows working on the structure. And there's not currently a building permit in place. There has been, let me explain to council. I stopped by, the house is slated to be demolished. There was work ongoing on the house. So I notified the two fellows working on the house that there would have to be a building permit in place, but I would be contradicting the city or contradicting council by signing a building permit while there's a outstanding order to demolish. So I have the application. I have not signed it for that reason. I can sign the building permit, but if council could get some drawings, material list, anything from the folks working on it, because that's still not with the building permit. So, so any kind of, it doesn't have to be overly detailed, but the more detail possible.
Right.
No problem.
Okay, okay, thank
I
you.
know I spoke to you about that on the phone, so
Right.
what our steps were, so yeah, I should have
Okay,
no problem.
okay, then, this is tabled at this point, so we really, council's just delaying the situation, and would you want me to sign a building permit? I mean, it's a little bit of a contradiction at this point, but
I think just hold the permit in abeyance, but not require them to follow through with the permit process until such time.
okay. Then there's a little bit of a problem with that, and I'm not trying to be a roadblock, Mr. Hopkins. But the purpose of the building permit is, the ultimate goal of that is safety. And if Mr. Hopkins gets to a point where he's putting up a certain size board and it fails inspection a month from now, it might cost Mr. Hopkins a whole lot more money to tear down and redo to meet inspection. That's my problem. I don't want to cause a problem.
That was gonna be my next step.
Okay.
What would you suggest, Bill?
I would suggest that council rescind the order to demolish, and we will monitor the property. If we have to go back through the process from start to finish, the structural inspection board will come back with a recommendation.
so
But I
we
believe-
just,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
we just moved to table. So now you're asking us to, and you said we could rescind it 30 days later. And we still, if I understood correctly.
That's true,
But
but
he won't get a building permit.
And in the meantime, you're stuck with whether to sign a building permit.
right.
I'll move that we rescind the demolition resolution.
Just, we have a motion regarding table. It's been a motion in a second, hasn't there? There's been some discussion, but there's been no vote on that table motion by Mr. Oxley, has there? No, been no vote on that.
So if we vote to no, or we vote
No.
no, then we will have an opportunity to make a second
rescind.
motion. Okay,
And that,
thank
a
you.
second motion. All right, we'll vote on the first motion. It's been properly moved and second that we table this demolition of Mr. Dwayne Hopkins' property. We'll now vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Oh,
No,
The noes have it.
say that again, Mayor, would you?
Those who wish to table will vote yes. Those who do not want to table will vote no. So
No.
look,
This is all clear.
the clerk will call the roll.
I believe it's all no's, Mayor.
Yeah, it's all nice.
then I move that we rescind.
Well, I have to say that motion failed.
Right.
It was 7-0. The motion was not agreed to. Now open for another motion, Mr. Parrott.
I move that we rescind the demolition resolution or procedure to start demolition.
I'll second it.
The property moved in second that the city council rescind the order to demolish the property in Harlem Heights belonging to Dwayne Hopkins. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's agreed to 7-0. It has been rescinded. Number 2, examination of demolition report of residential structure located at 312 Main Street, map 32, parcel 499, owned by Joy Lynn Farish. Mr. Hannah.
Okay. This is, oops. This is a couple of before photographs. And this is the after photograph of the demolition. And the document itself, I have that as a report that the structure has been demolished. And I trust everybody's had a chance to look at this demolition report. And the demolition report is in front of you as required to be submitted by the city manager.
Bill, how'd they get down in there to demolish?
This was a challenge for the contractor, Mr. John League, demolished the structure, not to be confused with our local John Legg that's here, but Mr. League entered from the Main Street side of that structure.
They took a tractor down over the hill.
Did it?
Yeah,
I
had a
wondered how
good
that-
size, about a 60 horsepower tractor. They went down over the hill, and cleaned up and pulled it back up the hill with a dump trailer. And
Pretty slick.
yeah, because they had a tough time getting in there. I think they
Yeah.
done a great job.
Let's make a motion, we accept the demolition report, inspection report for that.
Second.
And property moved and seconded to accept the demolition report of the property belonging to Joy Lynn Farish. Any discussion?
Mayor, I do see a typo. I will, the bid awarded to Empire Salvage is a typo. It should be League Construction. I will correct that in the permanent records of the city.
Thank you. We'll now vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to 7-0, which moves us to number 3, Spirit of Oak Hill Award Committee Report on Vision Guidelines and Procedures. I'm going to turn this over to someone else that's going to give you a more in-depth report. But this committee is made up of Debbie Bush, Krista Hodges, Dee Wright, Tim Jordan, and Dwayne Hopkins. And we have met and we have made some preliminary progress on this award that will be presented to people or companies or churches or whatever group there may be out there in Oak Hill for going beyond working for the better good of Oak Hill. And our report's going to be presented by Councilwoman Krista Hodges.
Thank you, Mayor. We did meet and we are currently looking at doing the award twice a year, a winter award and a spring award. We've all decided before we set our guidelines in place, we're all going back and coming up with 5 questions that we feel like are important to us for guidelines, and then we'll meet again. I believe it's next week, Mayor.
23rd.
The 23rd, with our questions to proceed from there. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And so we'll have I guess, another report for June after we meet on the 23rd and continue the putting together the rules, regulations, guidelines, and those kinds of things regarding this award and bring it back to council. Number 4, the alley abandonment of unused right-of-way at former Basham Salvage Yard near Victory Street, second reading. Mr. Hannah-Bass.
Okay. This is second reading. I believe everybody's familiar with the application. And the area is shaded on your screen that would be abandoned where the former Basham salvage yard was. And let me zoom out a little bit so you can tell where you're at. This is the current state road garage right here. And this is by resolution that we read last, that was before you last month. And Mr. Legg is present.
Mayor, I moved it last time and I'll move it again that we approve the abandonment of the right of way at the former Basham salvage yard.
I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the alley abandonment of the unused right of way at the former Basham salvage yard. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to 7-0, which moves us to number 5, recommendation from the selection committee to select Chapman Technical Group as consultant for developing building design guidelines in the B1 zone of Main Street. Mr. Trannabas.
Okay, we interviewed the committee for Chapman was Mr. Hodges, Mr. Perry, myself, obviously Chapman, and Aaron Reed. We're in the meeting. We were all besides Chapman were part of the selection committee. We interviewed Chapman, and in your documents are minutes of that committee meeting approved by those 4 members of the committee. And our recommendation is to select Chapman Technical Group as the consultant for developing building design guidelines in the B1 zone of Main Street.
So move.
There's a second.
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded. We accept the recommendation to select the Chapman Technical Group as consultant for developing a building design guidelines in the B1 zone of Main Street. And properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mayor, I would make an editorial. During that meeting and discussion, it was suggested or requested that we also consider maybe in the future a design for East Oak Hill. That this would only include this area, and that maybe East Oak Hill should be futuristic, if I remember correctly, in terms of 21st century versus maintaining the historical preservation of downtown. And it was mutually agreed in a very good meeting. So that's just an editorial.
Question for Bill. Thrasher Group did not submit, did they?
No, sir.
Good, so I can vote.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to 7-0, which now brings us to number 6, a reassessment of semi-monthly council meetings. Mr. Trannabas.
Okay, this was tabled, I can't remember the number of months ago, but tabled by council after consideration of 2 monthly meetings, a meeting every other week, I assume, of council. And it was decided at that time for council to table and observe a couple of small changes made to the meeting. One of them was to council comments at the end of the meeting. And what was the other change? Oh, the change in time from 6:30 to 5:30 to see if that led to shorter council meetings or less confusing council meetings or whatever. So that's all I have to report on this item.
Can we make a comment on that?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
We did move our meetings up from 6:30 to 5:30, and we've been able to get out of here at a decent time. I don't feel like we need to do 2 meetings. If something comes up, we always do a special meeting anyway. So just for myself, I don't see the need for 2 city council meetings in the same month.
Any more comments from council regarding that?
We have to vote on whether we're going to do it or not.
There's a motion here to vote on the reassessment of semi-monthly council meetings.
Okay.
To
Mayor, I
have,
don't, we follow the protocol of this meeting. It's worked very well today, is that we have a motion, then we have discussion rather than discussion before the
Yes.
motion. So I think you've done an excellent job following that. I ask that we continue on future motion or future items. But I'll wait to the motion before I make my comments.
is there a motion, though? Having heard no motion, the reassessment of the semi-monthly council meeting is fails for a lack of a motion. So now you have something to say, Mr. Perry, just about the
No, I'm fine.
phone?
Motion's
The motion's dead because,
Dead,
I mean,
so-
the action's dead because there's no motion. All right. Those are the easiest to count. That you don't have to call a roll on that one, will you? Brings us to new business, the general fund budget revision.
You all have that in your packet. I've increased the revenue and expenses by 168,000. Does anyone have any questions? Do you want me to go into more detail? Okay, if not, then I just need a motion.
I move we accept the general budget refund revision.
I'll
As
second it.
presented.
I'll second that.
Second it. All right, it's been properly moved and second. We accept the general fund budget revision. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's agreed to, 7-0. Number 8, consideration and approval of the school resource officer contract. Mr. Hannah.
Okay. And I believe this would, the chief of police, you have a comment about item number 8, the,
Just the annual renewal of the contract with the Board of Education. It's going on for 7 years. This time, well in advance of next year, next school term, but they like it now for next year.
So moved.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is it a total city payment or is it partial board or
Total board.
Total board reimbursement.
the board?
for the
Okay,
officer's
so
salary
they pay the
plus-
total salary.
plus his benefits.
Do you know which officer will be assigned at this point?
My the main officer, Frank. Yeah, he's the one that's been out there for quite some time.
And I would only say that I've heard nothing but positive about Officer Brown. And he has gone out of his way to donate to children, talk to children, call them at home, check on them, and is well received out there. And having been a former school principal, I'd love to have that. So I compliment the city and the chief on releasing that guy to do that.
Yeah, I think Officer Brown's an outstanding choice for that position out there. I hear nothing but positive about him as well. All right, we've had a motion and a second. We've had any more discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's agreed to. Brings us to number 9, Structural Inspection Board recommendation to demolish the following structures: Harris Street off Broadway Avenue, map 7, parcel 240, owned by Andrew Thomas; 105 Rocklick Road, map 59, parcel 33, owned by Brooke Armentrout; 30 Jordan Street, map 8A, parcel 176, owned by Jamie Adams et al. Mr. Hannah.
yes, sir. The 3 structures are listed under item number 9, A, B, and C. And council may choose to take these individually or as a group. And I have photographs of these structures that I will go through. This is Harris Street on the screen in front of you. Another shot of Harris Street. This is also Harris Street. There are 2 structures right beside each other that are in disrepair. And the next one that I'll show you photographs of is on at 105 Rocklick Road.
It's a cinder block house build.
And that's Mark Vi from the Sanitary Board making a cameo appearance. That is also 105 Rock Lick. The next one is 30 Jordan Street. And again, the recommendation for all three structures from the Structural Inspection Board is for council to order demolition of those three structures.
Jordan Street, that in Rosedale?
It is.
Wow. I don't remember that.
It's behind two structures, behind and sort of between two structures.
Mayor, I move that we consider A, B, and C collectively and that we recommend the demolishment of the structure.
I'll second. Then properly moved and second that the council approve the demolition of the structures on Harris Street, 105 Rock Lick Road, 30 Jordan Street. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote to motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to, 7-0. Number 10, approval of the Bears and Brews Festival on August 6th, 2022 at the Lively Family Amphitheater. Mr. Hannah.
Yes, sir. This festival was formerly the Hank Williams tribute. It changed its name. I believe last year was the first time it was known as the Bears and Brews Festival. And Crystal Hodges has been instrumental in this festival and asked me to put this on the agenda for approval for the August 6th festival.
I would like to ask Carly to come up to speak, if that's okay.
Some of y'all know who I am. Some of you do not. I'm Harley Volkson. I'm the president of the Punishers Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. We have partnered up with Destination Downtown Oak Hill in years past for this particular event and other events. I really encourage the council to take this into consideration and allow us to do this, because this is now, although it was canceled last year, we moved the date and we did one not so big. But what we put that money to that's raised from this goes to our local veterans here in Fayette County. Some of you may or may not know, Ansted has the only active VFW in Fayette County. And we were last year, due to bad weather and everything being moved, we only had 10 bikes show up, and we were able to raise $1,000 with just 10 people. At the drop of a hat. So that went to help them. We also donated to the Veterans Museum in Raleigh County. They're getting a name change. They're going to become the Veterans Museum, First Responders Museum. And they're moving to the first state police headquarters that was in the state of West Virginia. So that's the kind of stuff that we like to do. We like to get behind. Does anybody have any questions about what goes on at this event?
I'm familiar, Harley. Oh, any requirements for permits and so forth?
Me and Adam Hodges has been working together. He's done the permits in years past. He will continue to do those permits. I guess I'm kind of asking to take over that event I'm a licensed nonprofit organization in the state of West Virginia, just like Destination Downtown Oak Hill was. I'm constantly raising money within this community, and I like to get out and mingle with the community and let them know that just because you're on a motorcycle, you got a black vest doesn't make you a bad person. But we get a lot of negativity towards that. But like our club is law enforcement, military, firefighters, and I use this term very small, it's like-minded people. And when I say like-minded, you got to be like-minded. Okay, I don't just take anybody off the street, and my club hasn't. We are the largest law enforcement club in the United States, or actually in the world. We are an international organization now. We have over 2,000 members and roughly 298 chapters. So, I'm not asking for this, to just let people run amok. It's going to be the exact same as it always has been. It just now it has a purpose, and we're going to raise money for our local veterans.
I'll make a motion. We authorize the Bears and Brews Festival to proceed.
I would just like to add before you all vote that Adam will still be handling the permits and everything else, and we'll still be there as volunteers to do everything we did before. They're just the front organization leading the event.
How long is it? Is it just all day that day?
It's just an evening we're still ironing out the time. I think it's gonna be from,
Probably, I think 4 to 10 is what we kind of,
yeah. So it's not an all-day event.
4 to 10. I mean, and the chief, he's been there in years past. Nobody's gotten out of line, anything like that. So
We've had no bad reports from
No.
previous stuff, so speaks well.
thank you.
Thank
What,
you.
what's the name of the organization?
Punishers Law Enforcement Motorcycle
What?
Club. Punishers Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club.
Do you have a clubhouse
No,
somewhere? No. Let me ask you, what is given or offered for revenue enhancement, or how do you make your money?
we're a 501c3
I understand,
organization.
but that particular day,
We're gonna have food vendors, we're gonna do all that. The motorcycle club itself, we're gonna be actually doing a poker run. So we get our money from the entry fees for the poker run. And what we would like to do is just bring everybody, and line the bikes up and down the street. We'll have the music and everything. And it's to bring, like I said, we're a large club. And we got people that's wanting to come from New Jersey, Maryland, Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia.
Right.
So you're gonna see, you're gonna see a lot of punishers. You're gonna see a lot of punishers, and I mean, we have pretty good community support as well. As long as, things don't get canceled and dates don't get changed. And I mean, you can't do nothing about the fair weather riders, but I mean, last year we rode in the rain, we left in the rain, and we ended in the rain, and we still raised money.
That and vendor fees, and you charge for the
I
wristbands.
understand.
Mhm.
Last year's brought to my attention, is alcohol involved?
Yeah, it's a Bears and Brews. It's a
Okay,
craft-
Beer
well,
and wine.
do you sell or sample or?
It's a sample. They sell, the people, you'll have somebody there to check the wristbands or check the IDs, and then they'll get issued a wristband, and they only get like, what, 3 8-ounce cups
2 ounces.
or 2 ounce, I'm sorry.
Does that require a separate license or anything
It
from the
does.
state?
No, we have
A
everything. in
sampling
place.
license, I think.
Yes. We have everything in place to obtain all of that.
As Councilman Knoxley said, we got a report from Chief last year, and he indicated there had been no problems and no cleanup issues or anything. So anything that bring people to the city and some excitement for the day or afternoon would be productive.
Any more questions?
No, you covered everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harley.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. We've heard discussion. Is there anything else to say? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's agreed to, 7-0, which now brings us down to number 11, consideration to contract with WQAZ Broadcasting for airing the city council meetings.
Mayor, I'd like to move that we table this because at this time it would appear that Mr. Shiner's not here, not able to accommodate requests regarding costs and so forth. Also would like to note that at the next meeting, that it include, at the suggestion of discussion with Mr. Hannibas, what's the parade in the fall?
Oakley Festival.
Oakley Festival, that sponsorship of that, which if we do that, that would give the Oakley Festival an additional $1,000, and that we include the rails to trails as consideration once we get prices.
All right, a motion's been made that we table number 11, consideration to contract with WQAZ Broadcasting. Is there a
A
second?
second.
Properly moved and seconded. We table this. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to. 7-0 is tabled. Number 12, naming a committee for charter/ordinance review.
Mayor, I'd move that we accept this. I think 1948, and I can be corrected by the mayor if that be true, was when the charter was adopted. 1970 some, I think, was the last time the ordinances were looked at. When was it, Bill?
It was since then. I mean, we've modified ordinances.
I know we've modified.
A lot of times. The charter was changed. I can't remember the exact date, but in recent history, do you remember?
They were recodified too in the early 90s, maybe
Early 90s.
even after that, but I know that particular time, the outfit from Cleveland. Can't think of the name.
So I move the motion.
So your motion is that we name a committee to look at a charter ordinance review.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Properly moved and seconded. Now, this committee that you want named for the ordinance and charter review, how many and who's doing it?
Well, I'd recommend, if, of course, Mr. Hannibal won't be around, but to me to be part of that yourself. And certainly, a community member and probably 3 council members so that we don't violate the open meetings law.
I'd like to be a part of that committee.
I would request to be also, since I've been part of a lawmaking body and ordinance writing body.
All right. So you're saying this motion has been made regarding the committee for charter ordinance review is to be made up of the mayor, the city treasurer, a community member, 3 members of city council, of which 2 have already volunteered, Mr. Perry and Ms. Hodges. So we really need one more person.
Councilman
Tom-
Smallwood and
Tom.
actually have volunteered.
Oh.
Tom
So
Oxley
it's just,
volunteered.
Mr. Oxley, okay.
Yes.
So, so those are the mayor, Demita Johnson, a community member. Who's going to name the community member?
I think, maybe Mr. Hannibal can name that before July the 5th. He's
Okay.
very familiar with the community and people he feels he's
All right.
worked with before.
Thank you.
So the mayor, Demita Johnson, community member chosen by the city manager, 3 council people named Perry, Hodges, and Oxley. And so that is the committee made up of 1, 2, 3, 6
Was
people.
that Smallwood or Oxley?
I guess
Oxley.
you- I guess you-
Nominated by Smallwood.
Huh?
Nominated by Smallwood.
Okay.
Or coerced.
Okay. So Perry, Hodges. So that makes 6 people. You want an even number
I see no problem with that.
or odd number?
I think the responsible people will do the responsible thing and come to some consensus.
All right. So that's the motion now. It's been made, it's been seconded to name this committee, and the committee members have been laid out as well, except one from the city manager yet to be named. All right. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to 7-0, which now moves us to the posting of the GIS coordinator position. Mr. Hannibal.
Okay. Mr. Tyler unfortunately is resigning his position as a GIS coordinator for the city of Oak Hill. And I'll take this opportunity to wish Tyler Bragg well in your future endeavors. You've done a more than fantastic job for the city of Oak Hill. You're an excellent GIS coordinator. And more importantly than that, Mr. Bragg, you are an excellent person. Thank you. Having said that, sincerely saying that, I emailed city council upon notice that Mr. Bragg intends to resign. And Mr. Bragg and I developed a description of the function of the GIS coordinator within the city of Oak Hill. And I emailed that to you all earlier, and it is on the screen here in front of you. It gets parts of it get a little bit technical with the inner workings of GIS, and I am willing also to go into more detail. A lot about GIS is behind the scenes management, and it is an excellent management tool, is an excellent documentation tool, and it is an excellent illustration tool. And we are utilizing GIS right now on the screen in front of you to illustrate the items on the agenda. But more importantly, and most effectively for the city of Oak Hill, is a management tool. I included a couple of items that, and I want to take a moment to show you this. I don't mean to lengthen the meeting, but I'm going to show you a graphic here, and I'm sorry it's a little bit small. You all have it, okay, in front of you, hard copy. This is some of the things. It's not all inclusive of how it touches the lives of and the work of all the employees in the city of Oak Hill. These ladies and gentlemen back here that are employees of the city utilize GIS. I utilize it as a management tool. Some of it, much of it, is automated systems that someone starts a process and the GIS automates what's going on. And I want to show you another document. You've got that in front of you. The sanitary board here is pretty heavy in GIS, and I believe there's some sanitary board employees here. Mr. Kyle Hobbs on the back row, and I'm sorry I'm not going to have time to point out everybody that's with the city, but Mr. Hobbs on the back row, fine gentleman, a young manager of the collection system for the Oak Hill Sanitary Board, relies on this system on a daily basis.
Bill, could he stand up so we know? Okay, thank you.
And I am certainly not going to go through this in its entirety, but we had to submit post-project, a $25 million project. We had to submit to the Department of Environmental Protection our asset management plan after we did this very large sewer project. And you can see it goes on at some length, and this is an asset management plan that is managed and run by GIS. It's a very important document for us. It's a very technical document. It will put you dead to sleep, I promise you. But without GIS, I don't know how you can do a good job of an asset management plan. And now that is in your packet if you want to look at it later under the agenda item for the posting of the GIS coordinator position. One last thing, and then I promise I'll defer to you all. All those little items on that the Oak Hill GIS solutions page that you have in front of you. I want to show you how complex, and this is actually one of the more simple ones, but from start to finish, there are many, many steps involved in this. Many of them automated steps where it automatically generates a letter to someone in the public or automatically notifies someone that it's time to do a function along this process. And I want to point out another outstanding employee of the city, Braden Evans. Braden, if you'd stand up, I'd appreciate it. Mr. Evans is in charge of our grass crew, and it's a big job in Oak Hill. We mow, last time I took account, it was 69 areas in Oak Hill that you mowed. And some of those are large, complex areas like the amphitheater, City Park. And one of the additional things that Braden does is when somebody is derelict in mowing their grass and the city notifies the individual and they still don't do it, you just saw the man that steps forward and mows it on behalf of the city. And this is the process from code enforcement recognizing the problem or being notified of the problem, all the way down to Mr. Evans mows the grass or the property owner mows the grass. And then if we mow it, liens are placed on the property. So it's a complex system. And Mr. Bragg, thank you for illustrating that amply. Thank you. And so I will at this time be quiet and let council go on with new business of posting in the GIS coordinator position.
I'll make a motion that we post the GIS coordinator position.
I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we post the GIS coordinator position. Any discussion?
I got one thing. Isn't it already posted?
It is posted.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mayor, go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry,
I was just
Councilman.
wondering. I'm good with posting, sorry. I was just wondering, I was a little bit confused. I see the deadline is Monday with the application.
Yes, sir.
That was a question I had. The drop dead date is Monday.
Yes, sir.
How many days was it advertised?
It was, let me see if there's a date on the actual application. Or on the actual,
Have you received any applications, Bill?
I have not. Application deadline is May the 16th. And it's been, Aaron? May 2nd. Okay.
2 weeks. You did a class 2 publication.
No, sir, we advertised through the GIS
GIS.
Professional Association. And Aaron may be able to tell you a little bit more about where you.
Yeah, municipal league.
Municipal
Right.
League.
And as you see, my email is on the bottom of the job posting, and I have not received an email nor a letter with a resume involved.
My concern, Bill, and you know that because we've had 2, first Marvin and now Tyler, and there's just not a lot of them out there because not a lot of cities in West Virginia have GIS capabilities.
Right.
So it may be a lengthy process. You might have to reboot and re-advertise again.
Mhm.
So
And I'm prepared to do that.
County Commission's advertising for someone as well.
that's where we stole him from.
Yeah, I know that for sure. Bill, is the salary? I can't see and I haven't looked at it. Is the salary in that?
There is not a salary range on this, I don't think. No, sir.
Is there any necessity that the person be a resident of the city of Oak Hill?
I'm sorry.
Is there a residency requirement? Because we did with
No,
the,
sir.
we did with the do we anticipate is negotiable on there on the salary?
Yes, it would be commensurate with the experience and education of the GIS applicant.
What do you anticipate would be a offer or low ball figure and it's a high figure?
$50,000 to $60,000.
That's what the commission's advertising. Will we, could we, can we be any part of the decision process in terms of interviews or so forth?
What
Any-
about the decision making?
Would any of the council or anyone have the opportunity to be part of the process?
No, sir.
And you anticipate filling this before you?
I would like to. I mean, that's a tough question, a little bit of a dilemma.
I understand because
but-
you don't know what you're going to have apply.
Right, and if you want to look through if you want to read some of the responsibilities, and let me read one for you. Conduct field data collection using ArcGIS field maps, ArcGIS survey 123, and high accuracy GPS GNSS system. Gets a little bit technical, and Tyler Bragg has forgotten more about GIS than I will ever know. I don't mean to pretend like I'm an expert at GIS. but I can talk to someone after managing 2 GIS professionals. I know when somebody's good at GIS.
And the job wasn't advertised to the municipal league, I understand, Tom.
I thought we did too.
Aaron said it was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, you know, I would suggest that if it has to be re-advertised, that would include the municipal league. The only other question I have is there any severance monies such as vacation days or anything around it? I mean, that Tyler will be receiving.
I think that is prescribed by the West Virginia Retirement Board. As far as how someone's vacation days are counted upon severance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's prescribed by the.
So there will be some severance.
That possibly so, depending upon whether someone has those days available to them or not, but there are, yeah.
Okay.
Vacation days are counted.
And I would echo what you said. Tyler's done an outstanding job. I think we've complimented every time. If you go to state meetings, you'll hear how progressive and how far along the city is with GIS. I think he accomplished all of his goals except one, and we won't discuss that. So I'd wish him well in the private industry.
Tyler, I read your resignation. When's your last day?
12.
Thursday. I know it was the 12th, but I didn't know if it was June 12th. Okay. All right.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we post the GIS coordinator position. We've discussed it. Any more discussion? Hearing that we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Mayor, I'd like to ask unanimous consent that we move item 4, that we flip-flop 14 and 15.
Any objection? Without objection. All right. We'll move to 15, a recommendation to council from the planning commission to change the zoning from R3 to B2 for map 7, parcel 30, East Main Street, Mr. Hannibal.
Okay. There has been an application. The owner of the property is present. If council would desire to hear from the owner of the property, and as you see, it's changing from R3 to B2. And I'll zoom out on this a little bit, maybe give you a reference of where exactly this is. Right here is C. Adam Tony Tires, the top of your screen. And this is right down Main Street. From there, it's currently zoned as R3, but it has a commercial look to it. The building that sits pretty close to the road, right beside Cherry Lane. I don't know. Does everybody know where I'm talking about? Okay.
Bill, didn't we change that a few years ago from B2 to R3? If I remember. Seems like right after we did the zoning.
Okay.
We switched it from B2 to R3.
Okay, a couple years ago or so. I can't remember the details of that.
I think they were going to put in some apartments.
Okay.
We will put in apartments.
Yes, but there's a commercial space on the bottom as well. Lease out or rent to a small business, start one myself. Right now, there's 3 apartments. One commercial space.
And it appears you've done an outstanding job renovating, remodeling that entire building. And there's plenty of parking space at the rear, I understand. And once upon a time, I think there was a flower shop there, if I'm not mistaken. I think so.
Sounds reasonable.
I'd move that we accept the zoning recommendation from R3 to B2, parcel 30, map 7, East Main Street.
I'll second.
The property moved and seconded that we approve the planning commission's change from zoning R3 to B2 for map 7, parcel 30, East Main Street. Any more discussion?
I would like to compliment Harry. It looks great out there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I'll just make a note that years ago, it didn't score very high, but I actually scored that as a matter for the structural inspection board. So thank you.
No more discussion. We'll vote the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion's agreed to 7-0, which now moves us into anticipated executive session for personnel.
Mayor, I move that we go into an executive session regarding personnel as provided by Washington Code 69A, 4B, 2A, and or 69A4, Peters versus the County Commission. First reason of personnel.
Who's the person?
Pardon?
Who's the person?
General discussion.
No, you can't have general discussion.
In talking with the attorney, we can, Tom.
Well, I don't care about your
Well-
attorney. I got the code right here in front
Well,
of me.
read it to me.
And it says, unless the public officer employee or prospective public officer employee request an open meeting. If it's me, I want an open meeting.
It's not you.
Anybody else here?
If it's about me, I want an open meeting.
It is to discuss the resignation of Mr. Hannibal.
No, why didn't you just say that?
Pardon?
Why didn't you just say that?
So that you couldn't air your dirty learning.
My dirty linen.
Yes. You
You
know.
ought to know
with-
about
With
that,
that
don't
said, Mr. Hannibal asked for an open meeting. And I would just simply like to say that I have asked him on numerous occasions to stay. I think Bill has done an outstanding job. I think he has a lot of intellectual knowledge. He has lots of skill. He has a lot of institutional knowledge. And I think it's unfortunate that he's retiring. I would have loved to see him stay till 65, which we discussed months ago. Correct, Mr. Hannibal?
Yes, sir.
And on numerous occasions, I reiterated to him what I'm saying here. As early as about an hour ago, I asked him to reconsider and rescind his resignation. I think it will be a temporary loss to the city. I would wish him well in his retirement. And I would have liked to have said that, and made that clear. And at no time has anyone that I know in this council insisted on his retirement. There has been no ulterior motive, no agenda to see Bill leave. I regret it. I hate it, but life will go on. And of course, there were city managers before Bill, before Tom, and before that. And it's unfortunate. It's good that he's able to retire and he's made his decision. And again, I would still ask that he rescind that. I would make the motion to accept that rescission. But it's his decision. And if it's final, I wish him well. And the other thing, I'd like to go to executive session, discuss possible filling in the void before or after and how we're going to handle the process.
Mayor, I'd like to, I was going to save these for council comments, but since Councilor Perry opened the door, I believe, Mr. Perry, that you almost single-handed caused Bill to resign. You've been disruptive. You go to his office 4 and 5 days a week. And
I
you
do
don't
not,
reach- you
Mr.
don't-
Oxley. I go
I
one day a
didn't
week
yield.
occasionally.
I didn't yield, Mr. Perry.
Okay.
You go there and you don't request or suggest, you demand certain things. Let me remind you, as a single member of council, outside of these meetings, you have no authority. It goes for me and every other member of council here. To go before him and do the things you've done, don't tell me that it doesn't cause him issues and things that you want done. And let me give you another example. When you take you and Mr. Smallwood and the mayor and go down to see John Stump, you're not authorized there. You can't speak for the city. There's only one person in here that can speak for the city, and that's the city manager, and the mayor has certain things that he can speak for the city. None of us can, but you do that. And all you do is create havoc with him and the people in the office. It's created a hostile work environment with them. So I understand some people have apologized for some of the things that's going on, but it's a little bit late. Bill had planned to stay here through this administration and through the election and 6 months past that to allow this governing body to get a new city manager. That's not what happened now. And he's not going to change his mind
Are you finished?
for the moment. Yes.
Let me say that several months ago, you suggested that we go to the city manager, that we not bring it in public in this meeting. 4 or 5 days a week, I do not go to the city manager's office 4 or 5 days a week. I've seen you there as well, Tom. Usually, if at all, I'll see Bill 1 day a week. They've been very productive. Met with him last Thursday and it was very productive. And at no time, I don't think anyone, or I know I haven't demanded anything of him. We've discussed it. The last time I met with him on Thursday was at his request for clarification of items on the agenda. So I disagree with what you've said. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that division continues to appear. And like I said, when it gets down to the final, it's Bill's decision. There has not been a vote against Bill. In fact, I would like to see a vote that reiterates our support for him. But with that said, I'll leave it there. Thank you. So I just followed your lead by going to Bill as you suggested.
Yeah, sure. I got you.
I'd like to say something as well. I sat down with Bill for several hours this week talking to him. He's done a wonderful job. We've got a lot of projects on the board. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for Bill Hannabass. He annexed my section of town several years ago.
Thank you, Steve.
I don't want to see Bill go. It's Bill's decision. I respect his decision and I respectfully have asked him to stay. I'd like to see him stay, finish out the work he started. But in the end, it is his decision. I would also like to say that I think every one of us work behind the scenes throughout the month, talking to citizens, working on ideas, and then we bring them into council. And I'd like to think that we are moving the city forward with everything that we do. If we don't accept change, the pond will become stagnant if the water is not refreshed and stirred up. Change must be accepted, even though we don't like it. I do wish Bill would stay. I appreciate all you've done. If you so choose to leave, enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Steve. And I just want to add to the comment you made. City of Oak Hill has many indicators that we are moving in the right direction, not only city business wise, but economic indicators. We have a lot of positive things that lead directly to the economy of Oak Hill. We have a national park designation. We have vast more visitors into the area than we have in the past. So things are on the upward tick, and it's a good time for the city of Oak Hill. So thank you.
Bill, I'd like to say that working with you over these past couple of years has been an honor, and I appreciate every phone call that you ever answered. And I don't always agree with Bill on everything, but we agree to disagree, and we still treat each other with respect, and we are leaders of our community. Our children and everyone in here looks to us to be leaders, treat our employees with respect, anybody we bring into this office with respect. And that's what we owe these employees who we are leading and being representatives of, and our entire community. So I hope that we can all continue to do that. And if we're not doing that, we need to do that so we don't alienate employees that we bring into this community.
I'd like to echo Chris's remarks. we as a council have an obligation to make sure things are run smoothly and appropriately and with some dignity. So, Bill, I wish we didn't have this letter in front of us because you've done an excellent job.
Thank you.
We've got a lot of things planned, a lot of million-dollar projects that you've worked on intensely, and they wouldn't be there if you hadn't taken the time to do what you do. So I want to compliment you
Thank you.
and hope you enjoy your retirement, but it's with reluctance that you leave. I wish you would reconsider, but it's ultimately up to you.
Never too late, Bill. Never too late.
I appreciate that. But it is a decision. It's a big decision, and I have made that decision. Thank you. I want to thank again. I know I thanked earlier, but we have several City of Oak Hill employees. Thank every one of you and every one of you. And you know, when I look, I see Bill Sheaves, Tom Pennell, David Kirk, Chief of Police, Shannon Prince, Braden and Kyle, and Tim Richardson, the fire chief, and Darlene Richardson. Aaron is out here, Aaron Reed, and I look at some of the best individuals I have ever known and certainly ever worked with in my life. So Skibo's back there too. I'm sorry I left you out, buddy. James Pack. Thank all of you. You know, you're part of me. And I tell you one thing too, all of you are fantastic, but one of the best human beings I have ever known in my life is David Kirk. You know, he and I have worked together closely, and I can't describe a better human being. Best man I know. And Valerie's back here. Thelma's back here. I left you all out. Thelma Walker and Valerie Vaughn. Thank you all. Quality folks. Quality. And I appreciate the compliments. I'll brag on myself on one thing. Two things. Just two, Mayor. I try to put excellent people in place or keep excellent people that were here when I came. And the second thing I do is try to give them the equipment and the situation that they can work in and do good things for the taxpayer. I try my best. Those two things I'll take credit for. The rest, any other accolades, you need to thank these employees in the room. So thank all of you.
I will say this, Mr. Hannah-Bass. I too think you've done an outstanding job and continue to do so. I think you have extremely good people skills in dealing with some people who aren't exactly the friendliest or the nicest when they come in here, which makes it, but I knows that you're able to disarm them verbally and get them to calm down when you're talking to them about various issues. And I know you say that you're going to retire. When I was circuit clerk of Fayette County, I retired too, and I didn't run a third term. But remember this, when I came home, my wife said I was getting in her way. And she said, why don't you just go run for mayor? So when you retire, I don't know if you'll still consider retirement as being the great thing you think it might be right now, because it sure wasn't for me. But I do wish you luck. And we have to respect your decision, whether we like it or not. But I know you thought it over long and hard. It's not something you just had a snap judgment and said, I'm going to quit and retire and move on. But I think the city of Oak Hill owes you a debt of gratitude. And I think if you look in a dictionary, see the words Oak Hill, you'll see out from it a picture of Bill Hannah-Bass as to his his love and dedication to the city on the plateau.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
And I left out a really good employee back here too, John Pennell. I believe that's John was hidden a little bit. I couldn't see him, so thank you. If I left anybody out, I'm sorry. And I also want to say that the clerk and the treasurer of the city of Oak Hill is appointed by council. Demita Johnson. Y'all will be able to replace me. Demita Johnson is, gosh, I can't describe what you do for the city of Oak Hill. Demita, thank you. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. And we haven't always agreed, but Demita is a lady in a truest sense, very smart, very capable, and a pleasure for me to come to work every day and work across the hall from her. And I believe Mr. Oxley worked with Demita as a treasurer and would echo those sentiments. And I have to say this, Demita is a very kind person. She can be stern, but she's very kind. And she got mad at me one time and called me across the hallway on the telephone. And I wasn't in my office, and she left a voicemail. And the harshest word she ever said to me was, she said, "You know, Bill Hannah-Bass," she said, "I'm mad at you." And she said, I could just put your head in the toilet. That's the meanest thing she ever said to me. Yeah. So thank you for being kind and a very knowledgeable employee and capable.
Are there any more comments? So there's no executive session. That this is the open meeting they requested. There's nothing else now regarding that.
I'd like to again request that we go into executive session, to discuss the future of this job
Do we have to,
upon his resignation.
do we vote on that resignation?
We should. It's not on here, but I guess you should.
No.
To accept it? We gotta vote to accept the resignation?
What if we vote no?
Bill will rescind that order.
I think we ought to vote on it in terms of accepting the date and so forth to make it official for Bill's benefit. I'd also suggest that the mayor draft a letter to Bill with accommodations, accolades on and future well wishes for his retirement, and it be signed by each council member.
That in one motion,
Yes.
motion to accept the city manager's resignation effective July 5th. And within that same motion, a letter from the mayor signed by all councilmen commendating the work of Mr. Hannah-Bass. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Steve Bell.
Second?
So, okay, yeah, I'll second it.
I was hoping you were gonna ask me to. repeat
Yeah,
it.
I'm not. Okay.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Clerk will call the roll. Please.
Could you repeat that motion again, please?
The motion is that we accept the resignation of the city manager effective July 5, and that part of that motion is that the mayor will draft a letter commending the work of Mr. Hannah-Bass to be signed by each council member and then present it to the city manager. That's the motion. It's been properly moved and seconded. And I think people probably want their vote on record. So the clerk will please call the roll.
Counselor Oxley,
No.
Counselor Smallwood,
No.
Counselor Jackson.
No.
Counselor Jackson.
I'm just gonna go, no. Influence me. Right, put that in there.
Counselor Hazlet,
No.
Counselor Janey,
No.
Counselor Hodges.
No.
Counselor Perry.
No.
The motion is not agreed to. 7-0. So that
Now
means,
what?
that means there's no letter I have to write and
I mean, Bill can't.
That's
No
that's
letter?
always next month.
no
Now what?
letter.
Accept it next month.
So Mr. Hannibal, apparently your resignation is not accepted by the city council of Oak Hill. It's a 7-0. So I don't know where it goes from there.
I don't either.
Let's consult with an attorney.
Yeah, I
Consultant attorney,
think it's,
see what happens next. Well, there goes the letter. Good. I don't have to write one now.
well, thank you all for
Yes.
letting me know.
For
but
a
You've acknowledged the letter of resignation.
So we don't need executive session now to discuss replacing Bill because
Next month.
we ain't getting rid of
There
it.
is no replacement. That's good. I took care of that.
You know, I still ask for an executive session. I mean, I don't know what Bill's intent is or whether he rescind or not. I think we're being held in limbo. And I think the motion was the vote on the motion is very appropriate. But in terms of acknowledgement, you know, I would ask that Bill go into executive session, tell us yes or no or something, or let's discuss the parameters or.
I would second that.
So we're back to executive session now. Been properly moved and second, probably moved Mr. Perry, second by Mr. Hazlet to go into executive session to discuss the filling of this position or temporary filling of this position or no filling of this position. All right. Well, let me ask Mr. Hannibal, is this resignation irrevocable? You'll never take it, you wouldn't take it back?
Like I said, Mayor, I truly appreciate counsel and your sentiments. But it's an important decision. It's, you know, it's one I didn't take lightly and it's one I weighed heavily and I would not change my mind. I appreciate you all asking me to. I truly, truly do. But I have formally applied with the state of West Virginia to retire, and I know I could probably reverse that if I wanted to, but I think it's too big a decision to waver on. I'm on big decisions I've had time to think about and weigh. I'm final when I give that decision. So
I think out of respect for his decision, we need to take action. Also, I would ask this question, Bill.
yes, sir.
Once a replacement would be advertised, hired and so forth, would you be available on a contractual basis to assist that individual in terms of transition? And you have time to think about it, but
Right.
you got a lot of institutional knowledge. You got a lot of awareness. You'd be a good training officer or mentor. And you don't have to answer tonight, but I would like to see us extend to you that opportunity to assist in the transition on a contractual basis. That's just a statement. I don't know how my colleagues feel, but you know,
Okay.
I personally would ask that you do that.
All right, it's been properly moved and second to go into executive session. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
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 Roll call.
Clerk call the roll.
Counselor Janey,
No.
Counselor Hodges,
No.
Counselor Perry.
Yes.
Counselor Hazlet,
Yes.
Counselor Jackson,
Yes, but what are we going in for? Just to talk about the opening?
Yes. And the interim period.
Yes.
Counselor Smallwood,
Yes.
Counselor Oxley,
No.
Regarding executive session, the motion's agreed to 4-3.
Can we take a brief break before we retire to the,
10-minute break.
and I'd ask that Bill sit with us too.
Do I?
it is 7:15, 17.
City manager. Watch the council meeting better. But I mean, that would just be my. Short period of time. Well, you council could determine that 3 to 6 months. I don't know. Hey, Prince. Prince. I didn't even see you back there. How you doing? Good. How you doing? Good. Still living with my girlfriend. Aren't you?
Guess who's driving?
The redhead.
Redhead.
Oh, my God.
She's on the road.
She's beautiful.
She drove me to,
Thank you, Dwayne.
she drove me to Texas.
Did she really?
How are you? How are you?
Oh, okay.
Is your little girl?
She's a
How are you doing?
doing? Don't let her go out by herself.
Oh, he's following us.
My little boy used to be 8, 25 years ago.
I have a grandson.
Bev ran into your wife somewhere not too long ago. Bev did.
Oh, did she?
I haven't seen her for a couple of years ago.
She works at.
Oh, gosh. I knew I should have missed it. I was hoping I had missed this
Tuesdays and
coming.
Thursdays.
No such luck.
She's over there like running out.
Yeah. Settled in. Yeah, settled in. How old are you? How's your day doing?
Last time.
I mean, I will, but I've got Mark from there.
Now, I guess it's supposed to be.
He had dark curly hair. when he was-
He did, yes. I don't know, she didn't say either way, I put on her desk.
So there is, actually.
I'll be back.
You too, Mom. I will.
Oh, see, yeah, I have.
3 meetings. We want 3.
I think. During Saturday. I did find that.
guess we're about this right.
What your jacket? How your blood pressure?
Because you have a house burned down. I mean.
I think we should stay up.
I know.
Not up here 4 or 5 days. Usually once a week, sometimes personally, sometimes. All right, boys, we ready?
Ready to go. Ready to go. Oh, my fault. Yeah, well, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll this thing.
Double check this thing about executive session first. I used to see the attorney be here occasionally. Real fine. Coming in, your hands are like this. I thought you were gonna say you applied for the job at the state. Is July 5th, have you guys been with that? The date you select.
You mean I'm eating your.
Here, I thought they might have, because usually it's 3 months or so before you start your retirement.
Well, that's good. We're ready to go here. This is crazy, but. I'm having trouble getting this. Right. I know.
Ready to go.
Part of it is-
No.
We used to have some in there.
Yeah, you're early. Somebody said.
I gotta watch Antique Roadshow at 8. Antique Roadshow. That's all I live for. Okay. Is that everybody's for the meeting back here?
I might need to know that myself.
Across from Calvin.
The White House, right across the street.
It's like a white, I think it's got a red roof.
It's a White House, it's, is that where, that one's where, right?
That's why I got that kind of down over the hill. Like, yeah, I don't know those people, but I know who you're talking, I know where that's from.
They had a car parked across the street. I've been after it. It's not legal. It was Nissan. Set right in front, almost right in front of the Calhoun. On that rock wall.
Oh, yeah.
A great car.
Come on.
King George driver.
See, it goes back to 148, and I beat on that door, beat on that door. Little girl. Her mom. But anyway, I told the parks, we put tickets on it to have it moved, because it's not legal. So I told it, well, I was telling, that I guess it was Calhoun. He come from over at the store and run over there and was beating on her door. Hey, please, just tell me. And she didn't come out then either.
I ain't seen nobody there in a long time. Like, you never know. Paul got who he is.
Well, he was putting on minor equipment.
Yeah,
He put on miner's belt.
and you never know.
Yeah.
When he gonna go loco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He wasn't hard to speak to me. I was trying to talk to him. He's like,
And some days he'll talk to you like your best friend.
really?
And then some days, sometimes he'll talk to you. He won't speak to me. And some days he'll talk to you like.
Oh, now I know.
Hey. Good job.
That's it. That's it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. You get hooked up to the one video. Soon as I get out of well, Chuck said he had distributed those. Several departments. Okay, they should be there. Thanks. Put your squirrels in. You want me to do that? Why do you have pockets?
Squirrel or rabbit or whatever.
It does.
From China, they probably have a specific phrase, they probably have a couple of money. Yeah, I mean, it is China, came straight from China.
I remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
I didn't know it came from China when I bought it.
Did you buy it from us?
I bought it and I thought.
Did you buy it from us?
It wasn't from Wish, but it was like this, and I bought it and I was
Shane.
like. It was really just one of the Facebook ads. You know, you get on there. And look, no, I've had this thing for a long time. It's been good. But I ordered it and after about a month, I hadn't got it. I hadn't got an email
If
notification.
whoever,
I thought it was either a scam.
if you was hugging somebody that had a little
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
it, put your hands back.
Yeah. I did have a bunch of my friend, because I love them, and my friend bought me like, yeah. But she hasn't asked me if I run out yet. I'm gonna tell her, yeah. I need some more.
Charlie, go sit over there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
Okay.
I don't want you to fall.
Man, you can hang beef up in here.
But it was cold. I mean, it was getting warm.
In there.
Now it's coming, no, out here, I was getting warm.
Council has been in executive session. Is there a motion to return to regular session?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And properly moved in second to return to regular session from executive session. Any discussion? Hearing none, we vote the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's agreed to 7-0. Which moves us to department reports. We'll start with any questions on the report presented to us already by the chief of police. I know council's received the report and you'd ask questions if you saw anything, you had more needing more information. Is there anyone for the chief? Anyone now for
I might
the,
have one.
okay, Mr. Smallwood?
Yes, sir. Chief, do we have a policeman on foot now?
No, not right now.
Okay,
Probably anticipate, each summer we try to get up and
Right,
down
right.
there up Main Street as much as possible. We've got a pretty full staff except for one. We'll probably continue that. I think it's been perceived fairly well.
and the reason I asked that, I came through town one night and I thought I saw one walking the street with a flashlight.
Well, they very well may have been checking something.
I have one question from the meeting before. Councilman Hazlett brought up the possibility of ordering 2 more of the speed limit signs.
If it's in the budget, I don't have a problem ordering 2 more. Budget starts July, so I kind of thought.
Might wait till then.
Might address it then.
When you look at those, you want to consider the solar ones.
More than likely.
Can we try it out on bottom of Kelly
We
Avenue?
can try it out everywhere.
Because
They're moving around.
They've been moved around. They're in residential. One of them's in residential right now. Got reports that it's working very well. Problems, so, been there a couple of weeks, probably move them either this week or next week. But if you have requests where you want them.
bottom of
let me know.
Kelly,
One back down Midway.
Across from BB&T.
across, down the bottom of Kelly.
Yeah.
I'll
Because-
get with you and we'll see the best place to set them up in those areas.
With baseball season, the people fly down through there and there's so many little children that's crossing back and forth.
Probably City Park in general may not be a bad idea.
Brakes were screeching Sundays and it was quite
At
scary.
least it's slowing down. Right.
Well, that might have been me out there
Oh
with
my
the broom.
gosh.
Well said.
Mayor, I would like to add, Smallwood kind of mentioned it, and I had thought about it earlier and forgot. I would like to see the street patrol pick up again. A lot of people walking the streets now, see increase here in the last week.
We'll see what we can do.
The chief, you can take the one off Woods, like I mentioned before. You had 1,100 people going 1 to 5 miles per hour. So I guess they're just walking that fast. Because I know they're not driving that
I guess
fast.
that was catching the ones that were making the left-hand turn.
Off of Lavender or somewhere.
On to Lavender.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can keep that one. Send it down to Minden if you want. Mr. Hazlett wants that one. I don't think we need it. Thank you. Mr. Kirk for streets. Anyone have any questions for him and his report?
Day, when's the paving start?
It'll be after the first of the year.
Okay,
But we're gonna bid it, I'm gonna actually try tomorrow to get it out, but in the next couple of days, but it won't, you'll address that, I'm gonna try for you all to address it in June, and then the work won't actually begin, and you won't owe anything until after the fiscal year begins, so. And we actually, Mr. Kirk and I actually worked on that some today.
thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Kirk? Anything for the fire chief's report, Mr. Richardson's? Is he here?
He had to leave, he had to tend to something down at the firehouse.
All right.
He just left.
Any,
Maybe Bill can, I know Mr. Small and I were at a meeting to inform ourselves as we try to represent the people we represent. When they were discussing with Thrasher, some of the upgrades or changes in the fire department. We didn't stay long, but it seemed like the chief had it well under control. And I just wondered what was the end result of that meeting. That makes sense.
Right, and my understanding, I couldn't go down with
Right,
you all
right.
when you went, but my understanding, that was just a look at what utilities would
It
have to be
was.
moved and that kind of thing, and
While we're there, they were discussing, the weight room,
right,
the width of the new addition, whether they, survey to get the road around, what kind of traffic. That's the short time we were there, but,
right.
I just wonder what was the end result, but if he's not here, that's okay. We can ask him next
all right, the other department head report, the city manager's report, is there any question on his that was presented to you in your packet?
meeting. Mayor, I have a couple.
All right,
Bill, down under number 13,
Okay,
13, and I believe it's 13 and 9. What locations are we talking?
I'll
Are we
have
talking
to-
about cameras?
I'll have to look
And
here
how
real
many?
quick. Just a minute.
I think, and it's a very good synopsis you've given us.
Okay. um, $13.
Yeah. Sure, discuss security cameras at various locations with Tyler and Chief Wisdom. What are we talking about? Or where?
It's not
City park
spec-
or where?
Yes, for one, but we discussed several areas in general. We discussed intersections in Oak Hill, and the obvious one would be city park property, recreation areas, that kind of thing. Just a discussion of better coverage of the city of Oak Hill by cameras in areas that are needed. And these guys, I see 3 police officers and they're all perking up because they're a tremendous help to them, I believe. And, in years past, it was a lot of people opposed that because Big Brother's watching, but we're used to it now.
Okay.
We're all on camera now. You were on camera when you went to the bank or convenience store today. So, and we're way too busy to watch what individuals are doing. But if you have a serious accident, it's going to help you if you're in a public area with a camera on you. And we had that general
That's fine.
discussion about cameras being more prevalent.
I
But
just kind of wondered where,
Right.
where it was
Right.
being considered. The LED lights on Main Street, what's the status of that?
I think AEP is still waiting on parts for this project. And also, there is Ms. Kaufman actually issues work orders or work requests to AEP. And she will be requesting, she has a memo from me to request the east end lights at the PCB Bank.
Right through there's about 3 missing.
Right. And there's one other Amherst Drive that's near the country club subdivision.
And if anybody's seen the LED lights at the hospital, man, do they illuminate?
Yep.
The other question, last councilman, I talked about the area by Peterson's Clinic down by the Spirit and Truth and talked about the municipal lights.
Correct.
The city parking lot, I went down and looked to me like it was all right, but that street coming up through there is dark, dark, dark.
Right. And I'm pretty sure I included that. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I included that in a memo to Ms. Kaufman. She was on vacation last week and I wrote her a memo and sent it by email and said, hey, you're on vacation, but I don't want to forget this. And
Okay.
so, and I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that's on there too.
And the other thing is the two houses on, is it Rhodes or Lee? Did you get a chance to check on
Roads. And you
Roads.
want those rescored for the structural inspection board? Yes.
I'll look at it and see what you think, whether you do or not, because I know the last time you said they were very close.
They were getting close. Yeah.
And the other thing, did you get a chance to talk to John Pino?
No, I have not yet. I'm sorry.
And it's my understanding through the being out among the constituency we represent, just myself, that perhaps there's a lawsuit pending by Tom Luisis on the code enforcement. Are you aware of anything, or has it been
No,
filed or notice been served?
I understand there was maybe an appeal to circuit court, which is all of our rights to appeal a case from circuit court from municipal court to circuit court. There was a meeting scheduled here with some individuals involved, including our prosecuting attorney, code enforcement official, and myself, and I believe it was supposed to be an attorney that was going to appeal it to circuit court. They did not show up for the meeting here.
His attorney.
His attorney, yes.
So there is a possibility of pending.
It is. Every case has a
Okay.
possibility
Okay,
of an appeal.
that's all I have for the city manager.
I have something. Bill, I saw number 14 that you were actually able to apply for the earmark funding through Capito's office for a community center.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being able to do that for us.
Did we meet the deadline?
Absolutely.
Did we?
We'll probably hear stuff in November.
Yeah, I believe they told me October timeframe, but Region 4 is aware of that. And I'll tell you, just to ring our bell a little bit, there was, I understand 27 earmark applications from the Region 4 area, 4 or 5 county area, 27 submitted by Region 4, and I submitted our own.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
We didn't get our fair portion last time. I said, we didn't get our fair portion last time.
Right. Well, it worked out to be 3.1 million. And I believe, I thought I sent you all the application, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have relative.
All right,
City
that
manager
moves us
report.
into council comments.
CDC report. Aaron's.
Oh, I keep forgetting to add her to the list. Okay, sorry, go ahead. Yes, Ms. Reed, yours was provided as well. Does any have any questions for the Coordinator of Economic Development, Ms. Reed?
Don't forget to open business after hours.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Wednesday.
Have you got any feedback from any businesses that are coming?
I don't have a question, but I do have a compliment. I really appreciate you working with the Special Olympics, and Bill, I appreciate the banner. That's a high honor for 3 kids to be chosen. So I appreciate your work. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That's fantastic. Thank you.
I'm glad you said that because Steve Brad called me the other day about that too. But I didn't know the date.
All right, thank you. At large comments,
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Ward 2. Mr. Smallwood, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Trace, we'll move to Ward 1.
Day, do you mind, for the people that are listening, because I've been asked many times, what is allowed to be dumped back there at the, behind the middle school? Do you mind to get on the speaker? Because I had someone text me, they can't hear the audience.
It's brush. You can't have any 2x4s. We don't take 2x4s. We don't take any man-made stuff. It's all wood, like brush, tree limbs, stuff like that. You can take concrete blocks and stuff like that, but we can't have any 2x4s or telephone poles or stuff like that because the EPA does not allow that.
That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they find you and they find you with big numbers, not little numbers.
Is there someone down there to monitor that when someone comes?
No, ma'am. That's our problem. We're getting brush from Mount Hope, Fayetteville. We caught one guy, Mr. Jones caught a guy from Nicholas County putting trash in our dumpster down there one time. It's hard to shut it down because we want to leave it open for the people who live in this town. That's what it's there for. But you got contractors that won't listen and they're bringing it, they're going and charging these people in Fayetteville to haul the brush and they're bringing it to us and we got to get rid of it. So we're eventually going to run out of room for our own stuff. So every time I catch one, I follow or I call Mr. Hannabass and he goes down. And we stop. One guy said he was on Gatewood Road, but he drove all the way through Gatewood to Fayetteville to come back to Oak Hill. Made a lot of sense.
Is there any way to monitor that?
That's exactly
Yep.
what I was getting ready to say.
That,
Yeah.
you know, we'd hate to put a gate up. We could put a gate down there, but we'd hate to gate it off. For the, you know, there's people that do right and they do
Right.
bring their stuff down there. But you know, it's hard to, because it's hard to have an employee just sitting there watching somebody bringing brush down
Yeah, because weekends are busy
there.
times.
That's usually on Thursday evening, we clean it out and make sure it's all pushed back. We come in Monday morning and it's plumbed down to the gravel pile. So. Yeah.
The two things I'll add to that, Mr. Kirk. Commercial tree cutters, we ask that because they have such a volume that we ask them to chip it.
Chip it.
And if they're commercial, then they'll have a chipper.
Yeah.
Or wish they did. The second thing is we have a mountain of chips that are already there and any and all of us are welcome to go get those. Some have composted down
Can
inside.
we
I
advertise
saw
that?
someone on Facebook the other day saying, where can I get mulch? Where can I get mulch? And I thought of that pile down there.
I
So,
didn't know that we could do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's-
Yeah, go
there's
help
some-
yourself.
somebody's been getting some of it and that's what
Yeah.
we want. That's what it's there for.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for the clarification.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Any other comments from council people from Ward 1?
One question here. We're contemplating Bessie's moving and we're here. Still have the old Walmart building. Domino's is still talking about moving, right?
He is
Yes.
moving.
Yeah.
He is moving.
Have we made any contacts with other entities such as Ollie or Papa John's? Or opened up any conversations?
Bill and I have had discussions about that. We're concerned with the Domino's building, that they're, Domino's isn't gonna want another pizza place to move in there.
He's not.
That'd be-
He has to sell that building. He owns that building.
Okay. But if
But yeah, Bill and I have. discussions about
What about Bessie?
Bessie.
Is it moving?
Uptown.
Do we know?
It already has.
Huh?
It-
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it's still in town.
We talked
But in
to
terms
at
of
least one person about the Bessie spot.
vacated building,
Yeah, yeah.
what's going on with the old Walmart building?
The old Walmart building, something there this past week. Like,
Weekend, yeah.
they've been doing, I don't know technically what it's called, but it's free supplies for people to come, you know, get household items. I think they've done that a couple of times.
Okay, thank you.
Brings us to mayoral comments. I represented the city at the National Day of Prayer activities at the flagpole on May 5th and issued a proclamation declaring National Day of Prayer within the city of Oak Hill. Also on May 16th, I'm going to be at the New River Intermediate School and address their student council and issue a proclamation to them as well. And then the Special Olympics somewhere during the week of May 23rd. I think I talked to Ms. Reed about that. I'll issue a proclamation for each of those 3 students who are be going on to, is it regional or national in June? So I'll be doing those things upcoming, and I've already done that one proclamation, and also did a proclamation at the leadership Fayette County and addressed some of the students there who graduated a couple, 3 weeks ago. And also I went down and did a proclamation and spoke at the this organization on Jones Avenue that stands against child abuse. It's an organization there on the corner of Jones and Country Club. I went down there and addressed that group and issued a proclamation as well about 3 weeks ago or so, whatever it was. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Are there any future agenda items that anyone has to add?
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
It's not a future agenda item, but I just thought of it. And when we were discussing Aaron and businesses, the old Long John's building. I thought a couple years ago that was vacated so McDonald's could expand their lot when they were doing their construction, but I see a lot of construction going on out there, but I don't see them touching the Long John's lot.
I don't think it's going to be on the Long John Silver's.
What, does anybody know what kind of plans or anything they got on that?
Somebody told me it was tied up in airs. I don't know how true that is.
The rumor mill was that they moved Heart of Gold out of there because it was going to go to the McDonald's.
McDonald's didn't get it.
Okay. So there are no future agenda items. Pass on then tonight. Well, the next meeting of the city council will be held on Monday, June 13th at 5:30 in this room. And with that, I declare the meeting adjourned.
Second that motion.
Let me sign
There
all
to
those.
sign. There was something that she said that she was leaving in there. for me to
Resolution for
sign.
school contract officer.
I'll see you, bud.
Yes, that.
Now, I don't know what that address is for them. I put everything down, but their
He
street
ran
or
into
box
that.
or-
Okay.
The
we'll see
problem
that.
is,
These people
I've
come in
never
and do
seen
it.
somebody-
I
I'll tell you
thank
what,
them
these
in the
kids-
city for doing